Following Polk County, this is today's veteran. Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Drummond, and on behalf of everyone here at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. On this episode, we catch up with veteran activist and author Ed Pulido at the first annual Warriors for Freedom Golf Tournament, and I take you inside the 2012 Polk Auto Angels presentation ceremony. But first, prepare to copy, Polk County. Your sit rep is to follow. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs announced in late November that it plans to open 2 new national cemeteries right here in Florida. This move is prompted largely by the large volume of internments completed each year by the state's 6 existing national cemeteries. The VA hasn't published a timetable for construction of these new facilities, but they have announced that they will be located in Leon and Broward counties. And it's official, folks. The term GI Bill is now the sole property of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The department was granted a trademark for the term in early December of this year. This move targets individuals or institutions that intend to defraud or mislead veterans for their own financial gain. The VA is expected to publish the terms of use for this in the coming months. The VA also announced a proposed change to the federal regulation that governs service-connected disability for traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs. If enacted, the new regulation will make Parkinsonisms, depression, diseases of hormone deficiency, dementia, and seizures service-connectable as secondary to the TBI. For more information on any of these stories, or to read the original press releases, please visit the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs website at www.va.gov. Now, coming up next is my interview with disabled veteran, philanthropist, and author Ed Pulido at the first annual Golf Invitational thrown in his honor. So stand by, Polk County, more to follow.
You guys ready? All right. Hey, I just flew in, so I'm sorry I'm a little late, but I want to say on behalf of the Folds of Honor Foundation, the new organization we started, Warriors for Freedom, which provides mental, physical, and holistic support, and to include the game of golf for our warriors, I want to thank you for your participation. As I always tell people, freedom is not free. You'll get to hear a little bit about my story later, but what I wanted you to think about today as you go out and play is understand that in the United States of America, the freedom that we are given each and every day is given to us by those defenders of freedom. Those individuals that are in harm's way to take care of us. And whether you're on one political aisle or the other, at the end of the day, the men and women in uniform take an oath to the United States of America to defend it. And that's what I took an oath on when I was hit by this roadside bomb. It would change my life forever, but one thing was clear. In the United States of America, we don't give up. What we do is we get out of that bed and quit grieving, and we get up and we succeed. And with the help of individuals like you today, you have given me the opportunity and countless warriors the opportunity to succeed. But to me, what I've been taught the most is about the fact that in this American spirit, it was our Vietnam veterans who didn't get taken care of. And if you're a Vietnam veteran, I want you to raise your hand. I want to thank you for your service and your sacrifice, and I want to welcome you home. And today is your day to make sure that everyone understands that you embody freedom, you embody the spirit of honor, and the duty to respect you for what you've done for this great nation. God bless you. Thank you for what you're going to do. Have a great time and play the game of golf.
Hey, I'm trying to lose.
Control it.
Chris Drummond here with the Polk County Office of Veteran Services. You know, when I was in the Army, we had a saying, what makes the green grass grow? It was always blood, blood, bright red blood. Well, nowhere is the grass greener than here at Cleveland Heights Golf Course. A beautiful sunny day in Lakeland, Florida, as we join together to play in the first annual Warrior for Freedom Golf Tournament. I'm joined here by the organization's founder and primary coordinator of this event, Mr. Ed Pulido. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Getting right down to the brass tacks of it, I want to make sure we get as much information about your organization, about what you do and who you help to the viewers. So, obviously, you're Ed Polito. Tell me a little bit about what you do within this organization, and then if we can go ahead and touch on the organization itself.
Well, one of the things that I learned real early was that we have to give back to those that have sacrificed so much for our freedom, and also make sure that we don't leave their families behind in the field of battle. And that's why we started Warriors for Freedom, an organization that proudly supports the men and women in uniform by honoring them and their sacrifice. But more importantly, what we try to do is provide mental, physical, and holistic wellness. And what I mean by that is that we want to have a safety net for these warriors, so when they come back, they know that in their local community they can be supported and they can get the services that they need, just like the services that you all provide. And I want to commend you and your group and Polk County, because what you're doing for veterans is truly remarkable. That's the kind of work that we do across the country. And then I also represent the prestigious Folds of Honor Foundation, which provides the spouses and children of the fallen and wounded educational scholarships. To date, we've awarded over 3,500 scholarships. We're on pace to raise over $21 million in 5 short years. And our founder, Major Dan Rooney, the F-16 fighter pilot, PGA golf professional, and that's why golf is an important endeavor in our lives, brought me on board, gave me a second chance to kind of put together something that was important. And what I mean by that second chance is you get hit by a roadside bomb, what does your life look like in the future? And he gave me a chance to run this organization, to make it what it is today. And together we're making a difference. We've got sponsors like Budweiser, Titleist, LifeLock, Bushnell, Fifth Third Bank, and so many other people. And then I came here to speak at the local chamber event that they had, and had a business luncheon, and how great it is that I got an opportunity to tell my story, and this is where we're at today, making a difference.
Excellent. You know, I wish every guest was as energetic as you, because you took the questions right out of my mouth, Ed. I'd love to develop a little bit more in regards to your organization, but you mentioned your story, a chance to tell your story. I'd like to use that as a segue. If you can go ahead and tell us precisely what brought you to this point, what brought Major Ed Pulido to this golf course today.
Well, the most important thing is that I want to meet the people that are providing support to our warriors, and hear what we have in Polk County and here in Lakeland, Florida, and in the Tampa and Orlando area. We've got some great patriots, and everyone wants to give back, but they just don't know how. And I learned real quickly from our Vietnam veterans that the mistakes that were made on them will not be made on us. And I think that's my motto. That's how I live my life every day. And so for us to be supporting the organizations, what I did was got on a plane today from Oklahoma and came down here to support our Patriots Days events that we're having. We've got other events going on in the area. And what we want to do is we want to raise money to empower and support our men and women in uniform, not only the warrior, but the family member. And by giving out these scholarships and providing educational supports, what we're doing is we're changing lives. And we learned real quick from the fact that our World War II vets, the greatest generation, was empowered by education. And I think what you'll find is when our veterans are educated, when their family members are educated, when our community is educated, we surely make a difference in making sure that we have the best quality of life possible.
Excellent. Now, talking about the big pink elephant in the room, you're an amputee. Do you mind if I ask you how that happened?
I love talking about it. August 17th of 2004, I hit an improvised explosive device, a roadside bomb, that would change my life forever. On that August 17th day, one thing was clear. The men and women in uniform, the enlisted and the non-commissioned officers, the backbone to our military, were there for me. And I do the things that I do every day because I looked at that young man's eyes that was trying to save my life. As the first fragment hit my knee, it broke it in 3 places. Fragments to the left side of my body. A traumatic brain injury later I would find out I had. Of course, my leg was where I was emphasizing the care because, of course, I was in trouble. They pulled me out of the wreckage, put me on the 128-degree pavement. It was hot. My back would burn, the fuel would spill, there was fire, it was chaos. But as I said, the enlisted and non-commissioned officers know exactly what to do. When their officer goes down, they won't leave them behind. And for me on that day, they created a 360 perimeter, kept the onlookers away and the insurgency away, was able to render aid, and 47 minutes after I'd been hit, I'm on a helicopter headed to Baghdad. And so, what an incredible day. I would end up in Baghdad, 17 hours in surgery, blood transfusions, and 2 days after I woke up, not only would General Petraeus call my mom and dad and tell them I would be okay, along with my wife and my little girl, but also tell my family that they would be taken care of along with me. And it was at that time where I was awarded the Purple Heart, and I wear it proudly, but I also know and understand that this was never done by myself. It took a team, and teamwork was key to our mission success on that day.
I mean, that's an incredible story. You more or less left me at a loss for words once again. I thank you for being able to share it with us. You touched on so much there. Number one, as a senior non-com, I don't wear the uniform anymore, but thank you for the recognition.
Thank you.
People remember the great generals of history. They don't remember the great sergeants major or the great first sergeants. So it's great to hear that, and I thank you for that recognition. I did want to talk about, I heard that you are writing a book. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my book is called The Major Ed Story, Challenge, Triumph, and Change. As I look at it, the book will talk about the challenge of sitting on the battlefield, almost losing my life. The triumph is taking what I call the first step after amputation, one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in my entire life. Not hard to learn how to walk with the prosthetic, because that's hard, but what was hardest was the fact that you're just at a low point mentally and physically. You're low, you're down, and you don't know whether you can get up. And to be able to get in a prosthetic and be able to do that is what I call the triumph. And then the change is living adaptively, as you have lived probably just from your military service. We get hurt. We have not only peacetime that we get hurt in, but combat. And you know what? You live with those injuries. And every day it's a task in itself, and some people have major injuries and some people have lighter injuries, but all those injuries really take their toll on their body, and military service does that. Am I proud of the fact I served? You bet, but I'm also proud of the fact that folks like you and your team are going out and helping these warriors get their maximum benefits. And I think for me, that's what we talk about in the book, not the fact that I hit a roadside bomb, because that's part of it. But what am I doing now to empower others to not only think about themselves, but to support others in their journey and their walk? And I think the book is going to be great. I want people to go out and read it. You're not going to see or hear the book talk about what we did and the Rambo tactics. I'll leave that to our Navy SEALs and those folks to talk about that. But my job is to talk about what do you do after a challenging time. And instead of, like I said, being in that bed and grieving, or getting up and succeeding. And I think that is the premise of the book, and why we must give back, and why our servicemen and women in this great nation, people like you and me, have sacrificed so much, whether when we say we're on one aisle of the political spectrum or the other, that when we take the oath, it's to defend the greatest nation in the world, and I don't take that lightly.
I agree, as you shouldn't. We've never met before today, so I don't know what the Ed Pulido was like 10 years ago. What did this event, what did this life-changing event teach you about who you are as a person? Not just a professional, but who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't get asked that much. What was I like before? I was a vibrant, positive, energetic, hit the hill kind of guy. Very aggressive in what I did, and I tried to do everything as good as I could. But now I have what they call the passion, the drive, the commitment to honor and understand that we must always remember, but we must always pay respect for those that have sacrificed so much for freedom. I live it every day. My patriotic nature is that red, white, and blue flag. When you see it, when I saw those shirts you guys were wearing, I'm like, I need to get a shirt like that. But to see the red, white, and blue, to wear it honorably, to go to a parade on the 4th of July and see people waving the flag. I always tell people, Veterans Day is every day. And to me, we must honor these veterans. We must honor those individuals that are currently serving. But, you know, what I'd really learned about myself was the fact that I had a different side of me, and you'll kind of think this is pretty funny, but I always tell people that when I got one of my blood transfusions, I got a little female blood in me, so now I cry all the time. I think the reason that I say that is because it's true. I have this emotional spirit where I was just sitting in church the other day, and I'm a man of God and country and family, and sat in church and thought about the great country that we have, and as I sat there, I had a tear in my eye, and you know, the old Ed Pulido wouldn't just cry like that. The new Ed Pulido does, and he cries because he loves this country. And with this time of reckoning and political strife sometimes between our political parties and what happens in Washington, I think at the end of the day in our communities, we understand each other, we're able to work with each other, and we're able to make a difference together as Americans, not a D or an R, but truly an A for America.
I agree, and that's an attitude I really wish more people would adopt. You know, at the risk of sounding crass or making light of your situation, which I would never do, but it truly does sound like there was a silver lining in what's happened to you, and that this really was possibly an awakening of sorts for you to tap something inside yourself that you didn't know existed.
That's
so
right.
Again, it was horrible events that you've been through, but it does sound like that you've come out swinging.
Well, let me enlighten you on that. That's a great question and segue to saying that the young man that saved my life, as I looked in his eyes on that day, I have to say that I thought about the fact that I'm sure he had a family, and he took his training seriously. You know, an enlisted service member saving an officer's life on that day. How incredible. But what I looked at on that day too was the fact that if I lived on that day from an emotional point of view, I would take care of that young man and that young man's family, and many families like that. And I embarked on that mission and always kept it at the forefront as one of my goals, that if I ever got out of the military, because I would be rated unfit, and that's what happens, that my life would take on a new journey and a new way to wear the nation's uniform. And that was to support those that supported me in my journey and made me who I was. And at the end of the day, it's teamwork. It's what we call battlefield fitness, where we're together and in the field environment, and it's our fitness that carries us on, you know. It's the days when we used to do PT in the morning at 5:30 in the morning, and we'd sing cadence, and it was just strong and heartfelt. But when a tragedy like this happens, it changes you, and it makes you think about your priorities. And my priority is God, my country, and my wife Karen, my wife Kate, my daughter Caitlin, my daughter Kinsley, and the American people and those that serve.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned your family. Obviously, this event alone is a family affair. I've met your mom and dad, and I understand your sisters and your brother-in-law are both co-event coordinators for this. How has your family responded to this? And by that, I'm not trying to ask it, how did your wife actually respond to the accident itself, because I'm sure that was a very personal matter for her. But how has your family responded to this as a whole?
Well, my wife
Daddy
Karen,
can't do the things he used to do. So.
That's right. You know, my wife Karen, Caitlin, and Kinsley, my two daughters, have well adjusted to my condition. They are the only ones really, along with my mom and dad and my sister and brother, that really understand what I go through on a daily basis. The hardship that is to put on a prosthetic leg, to have your back hurt, your neck hurt, and your body ache. But you know what? That's part of it. I don't complain. What I try to do is encourage others to seek their goals and to seek some purpose, because as we always say at the Folds of Honor, and Major Rooney always says eloquently, is that when you give of yourself, you're actually the one that's getting all of that back. And my mom and dad were influential in creating a foundation for me that would be valuable, not only to serve my country, but to have values and honor and respect to those around me. And then my sister is an incredible young lady, along with her husband, and they're making a difference in this community. And Yadi has stepped up to the plate, her and Chad, and many volunteers, because they aren't doing it alone. have all stepped up and said, you know, we're going to fight for freedom. And, you know, my father is from Colombian descent and got his citizenship of this great nation because he served it. And for them to be out here alongside my sister and my sister doing something not for herself but for someone else that she may not even know, and has children at home and could sit there and say, you know what, I don't have time to do this, but took the liberty and the time and the responsibility to honor our sacrifices. I think that's important. And you know what, to the city of Lakeland and Polk County residents, which are all over this great part of the nation, you know, thank you for supporting our effort. Please continue to support what you're doing in the veterans' cause. And let's make a difference, and let's always know that we can never leave anyone behind in the field of battle, so help us God.
Well, Ed, it's an incredible story. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you to the city of Lakeland and Polk County and the veterans' work that you guys are doing. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Polk Auto Angels is a nonprofit charity begun in 2010 to help Polk's neighbors in need. The organization takes donated vehicles, performs any needed repairs or refurbishments, and then gifts them to an individual or a family in need. Here we take you inside the 2012 vehicle presentation and let you see how 4 wheels can change someone's life.
We're honoring the veterans for their service in the United States, and one of the ways by doing it is once a year we try to do work with Recycled Rides, an organization that donates a vehicle and which is basically a total or repairable vehicle, and we repair it and put it back to a safe operating condition and donate to a worthy organization or a cause for some special person. Well, one of the things that we want to do is get behind our veterans is they have given so much to this country. They've given up their lives, their dedication, their time. Even with the issues that we have in this country, we are still the best one in the world to be in. And we need to appreciate them, to show them what we've done for them. Like I said, some of them have come back and they've had bad situations where they family problems and health and financial. So we would really love to be able to help them. It's just a small way for we can give back to the community and those that have served our country and done so much for us to continue with our freedom. Some of the people that really helped and did the most, first of all, Esurance, insurance company here in Florida, has donated a vehicle. Every year they work with us and they donate a vehicle. The vehicle is definitely most likely a car that's been totaled out or a total loss vehicle, or one that's some damage that needs repairs. We go through the process with some suppliers. We've had some suppliers in this area. Lakeland Auto Mall supplied some parts. All Pro Auto Parts also supplied the parts, and then 4 of our techs, they did all the work and restoring it back to safe and operating condition. The car then goes to DMV and they inspect the vehicle, make sure everything's safe and operational, and at that point we are able to award it to some person.
Well, Esurance, of all the companies I've worked with, is probably one of the best about giving back to the community and also taking care of our insureds. We have a lot of military insureds, and additionally, Esurance certainly salutes veterans and those currently serving, and feel it's very important to not only give back to the community, but to certainly say thank you to the folks that have worked so hard for our freedom here on Veterans Day.
And right around the first few months of the year, we find a car and then we start processing it. And somewhere around the time where we're getting close to get it done, we start searching for that one person that is going to be getting awarded this car. So we put feelers out to several different companies, organizations, the veterans, and other military things, and looking for that ideal person to receive this car. And In doing that, I got a few letters back, but the one that stuck out the most, and I'm going to read it to you, it says, "Dear Mr. Fred Haverhill, as adjutant of one of the largest American Legion posts in Florida, I've been asked to submit a name for a deserving veteran in need of an automobile. Without any hesitation, one person who stands out above all, that is at least in my opinion, without any hesitation, the commander of Post 8 of Winter Haven, Mr. John Weems." And to go on to read some more about it, it says, "John is trying to keep his 1995 Mazda with 250,000 miles plus on the road. If you pick John as a recipient of this auto giveaway, you'll be given a gift to countless numbers of veterans who John helps each and every day. John drives from his home in Lake Wales to Winter Haven almost every day of the week to volunteer as Honor Guardsman, Commander Post of 8, to attend special functions for veterans. A few examples as follows. John worked tirelessly to make Polk County one of the first counties in the country to become a Purple Heart County. John has led the way to honor veterans by working together with the city commissioners of both Lake Alfred and Winter Haven to build a Veterans Park in both of those locations, with which what will be connected by what we'll be hoping to call Veterans Trail. John has begun to work to have the trail connected to the park in Lake Wales. John gives of himself more than anyone I can think of, and has never asked of a person who would spend his last dime to help of a total stranger before helping himself. If John knew I was writing this letter on his behalf, he would ask me not to do so, simply because he would feel someone else was more worthy." Getting back to John's old car, even though John's wife, Donna, the love of his life for over 45 years, depends on John's attention for so many things because of a horrific car accident a decade ago, she also needs transportation when John's off doing volunteer work. And he worries she drives a car and hopes it doesn't break down on her. John also suffered a stroke back in 1998, and that affected his right side, but you would never know it because he's not that type of person to complain. John, a proud Oklahoman, but he fits just right in our community, our post, and our lives, and touches everyone he thinks of. He's proudest to be known as an American who has defended his country. Thank you, John. Come on, John. Go ahead, sit in it.
Wow. Hang on, I'm going to need that. My friends and my brothers put me in for an award that I'm sure others deserve, but they did what was right as far as taking care of me. Oh, wow, this means the world. They joke because I have an old 95 Mazda with 238,000 miles on it, and I've got a wife who has some health problems, so it gets pretty wore out driving it around. They tease me about my car all the time. I told them I was going to drive it till it died or me, so I guess I got to get rid of that one now. Now I've got me a nice ride here that I can really be proud of.
Well, it's closing time, Polk County. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. From everyone at the Office of Veteran Services, we hope you have a very happy, very healthy holiday season and have a wonderful beginning to your 2013. Look forward to an entire year seeing this mug as we continue to bring you episodes of Today's Veteran every month. Now pull the pin, pop the spoon, and watch that fun ensue.